Welcome to another Purpose Serve podcast episode. I'm your host, Darrell Wingfield. Um, Today is going to be, I guess, a weird episode. We're kind of going to be going into my mind a little bit, and I guess how I think about things that goes on around me. The one of the very first thought provoking things that I'm going to ask is, do you guys, I guess, take everything that you guys see and get told and take it as is, or do you guys question a lot of the stuff that I guess you get taught or you was made to believe? And for me, I always was questionable about a lot of things that I was taught. I was always questionable about pretty much everything around me, but I didn't. I guess, like, weirdly enough, as a kid, you're figuring out the world in a weird way. It's like through like adults, like majority of the stuff that you learn on how to be and who you are is from your parents, I guess, because that's who you're around mostly, or for people like their guardians or whatever. But it's hard when you're in a situation like that to question what you believe. You know what I mean? Because from, I guess, the little bit of experience that like a kid has in the world is just like, how much value does that actually hold to somebody that has more experience than you with living in this world that we live in. But for me personally, I feel as though the most important thing is to, I guess, pretty much question everything. Literally question everything. It's not a bad thing. And for me, the one thing that I started figuring out is the more you do start questioning things, the more that you start to realize that nobody knows nothing about anything. And it sounds crazy, but I'm starting to understand that we're living in such a unpredictable, changing, I guess, environment that you can predict it to a certain degree, but a lot of times you just gotta trust the things around you in a certain sense. Like for me, when it comes to asking questions, it could either go one or two ways. You can either be okay with not knowing anything about anything, or that can have you thinking like, what's the point? Like, you know what I mean? Do we even have a purpose? Does this even matter? Due to the fact of, the vastness of everything. But I believe that we are a part of nature in such a weird way. Like, everything to me operates kind of like the same. Everything has like the same kind of formats. Like, as crazy as it sounds, and I say this all, like, I guess in the beginning of the podcast I was saying this a lot, but we are born to die. It sounds freaking crazy, but we're self-destructing creatures. We come out the womb and we know we're not going to live forever. I mean, as a baby, we don't know that, but in the back of our parents' head, that's crazy. It sounds crazy, but they're not thinking about that in that moment. But that's the reality of the situation. We're all freaking ticking time bombs. It's crazy. Like, I think about that all the time when I'll be like, I guess, watching like wild animals and stuff like that, and them on a safari, or them in like open plains or in the jungle somewhere. It's just that, first off, for example, for an animal that's like that's not a predator, they're food to somebody else, and they still gotta freaking survive. I don't know how I would sleep knowing that I'm food to somebody else, food to like another species. That's kind of creepy, yo. That's mad creepy. And the only thing that they're thinking about is water, food, and like shelter. And I guess weirdly enough, at one point we were like that until, I guess, people started getting jobs and filling out W-2s and then worrying about stupid stuff like being late to work. I guess all of that stuff is important to our modern day society, and I guess it creates order in this chaotic thing that we're living in. So I guess it works out in that sort of sense, but I don't know. It's just crazy. The more I started questioning things, the more it just like left me confused. But weirdly enough, for the questions that like personally that I do have, I get weird answers in a sense where it kinda is answered, but in a way that still leaves me like not knowing in a sense. I'm trying to find like a good example like of that, but honestly I can't think of an example like off of the top of my head. But I don't know. It's just like for me, I see the world and like I've been talking to this about to my friends like a lot. I've been understanding that we're vessels to something, to a higher energy source that's trying to express. I guess that energy source is trying to express itself through us, like, you know what I mean, using our body to express itself. Like everything that you see, any creation that's like ever made, for example, I got my phone right here, but that was once an idea in somebody's head, and somebody managed to manifest that thing into this reality, like right here. And all of us have that source within us. Like, to me, I've been saying that's like, weirdly enough, like God, I don't know, I think that's God little superpower where he plants these seeds and put these ideas all around you. You know what I mean? And you're looking through a lens as a creator, because it's so weird. Like for me, everybody, like, you all got grand ideas in your head. Like they come across you every single year. But a lot of people don't act on them. A lot of people don't believe that it's possible. A lot of people, due to the fact that, bringing this to the beginning of this conversation of you not questioning what's going on around you. And I believe for those people that question the things that go around them the most are, I guess, the movers and shakers of the world, and people that are very innovative, people that feel as though no matter what they can, like, I guess, create something. Like this podcast will be, I guess, a living example of something that I guess I had it in my head, but didn't know how to manifest it until I guess I started asking questions and started stepping into whatever this thing is. But that outside source that I was talking about, like where ideas are, your imagination, all of this stuff, that's what I think that's the source of what keeps this universe like running. I think that's what shapes our perspective, and it's literally weird. I think about this like all the time because it's such a, I guess, powerful energy source, and it seems like it can't go away. You can't use it and run it dry, but it can run you dry because the source is so strong that sometimes we're not strong enough ourselves for it to, I guess, connect and I guess use us to be what we truly are destined to be. And a lot of that, I believe, though, that has to play with, I guess, distractions that we have like around us. Because I always say, like, that's just like the little voice in your head where it's telling you what to do, what exactly to do, but you're choosing not to listen to it. You're blatantly choosing not to listen to it, whether it's out of fear, whether you're scared. But for the most part, I believe that people much rather be in something like a situation that's predictable, whether it's good or bad, than to be in the unknown where they start to form the predictability. You know what I mean? Like, if you already been at a job for like 5 years and you know this job is not good for you, but and you keep going anyway, and then you keep complaining about the people that's there, you keep complaining not only about the people in your job but the people in your life, because of, I guess, that energy of you going to that job but then you got that voice in your head that's telling you like, all right, then just leave. You know, you're going to be okay. You're going to be all right. Just leave. You know what I mean? This ain't the end of the road. But me and my friends was recently just talking about this. But the more you don't listen to that voice, the quieter that it get, and then it's going to start to not help you out. It's going to start to ignore you. And then after that, you're gonna be ultimately lost in the sauce, because the distractions and everything that you got inside your head, you drowned that intuition out. That's letting you know exactly who you are and what you have to do. And for me, I can't stress this enough. It's so important that you guys listen to that voice. It may be scary. It may be subtle, but listen to it. Listen to it. It's not steering you, I guess, in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? It knows what you want better than what you think. And it boils down to instant gratification versus delayed gratification. It's so hard, for example, to do something and in hopes of you're going to get something in return. It's so much better to do something knowing that right then and there you're going to get something like out of it. But for the most part, a lot of that stuff, like, weirdly enough, like, isn't good for you, especially in like an excess amount, like a lot. You know what I mean? For example, you got like alcohol, drugs, sex, all of this stuff that if you do it a lot, it's going to ultimately, I guess, like, destroy you. But it's also instant gratification as well, because through doing those things, you're going to get instant feedback from it, rather than, for example, putting your faith in something that you truly believe in, you know what I mean, and have faith in. That's hard. That's not easy. That's difficult, because ultimately with people, you don't want to fail. Like, you don't want to put all your chips into something and be like, oh my God, it didn't work out. You know, how people going to look at me? Are they going to look at me like a loser? Are they going to look at me like a failure? To me, in the society that we live in, like, I ain't going to sit here and lie to you and say like that stuff don't matter. You know what I mean? Because we made it matter. We did like make it matter. But individually, we all know behind closed doors that it don't matter, yo. It really don't. Like, for me, I don't go on social media like that. I used to, but then I deleted my social media probably like 3 years ago, and I was off of it for like a year. And then once I got back on, I'm not even going to lie, I've been out the loop like ever since. I don't really know what's going on. And it's so weird. I was on Instagram probably like last week, I think it was. I was on that joint for like 5 minutes. And then I got a weird feeling, yo. I guess I got like, I don't know. I've been like overly sensitive to the energies around me. But I was cool before I went on Instagram, but I was on it. And after I got off like 5 minutes, I'm like, yo, I feel a little depressed for some odd reason. Why I feel like a little anxious. It's like, this is hella weird. Very weird. You know what I mean? But I guess once I got off, I came back to my like senses. But I think people, that's just like, it's oversaturated in like stimulation, and it's just like, that's like, weirdly enough, like social media, if you don't control it, that's like instant gratification like galore. And you can easily, I guess, after scrolling for so long, be not motivated to do anything. For example, you can be scrolling and you're seeing so many people that's doing what you would truly love to do, and that's going to kill your vibe completely for doing those same things as well. And you're gonna, I guess, have this weird idea like, yeah, man, that'd be so cool if I get to do that. How are they able to do that? Just do it. You're no different from them. We're all no different from each other. Yo, if you're hearing this, like, for example, say like, yo, you're hearing this and you like, I always wanted to start a podcast. I always wanted to, you know, get my thoughts out there. I want to start a podcast because I genuinely care about this one thing or this topic, or I feel as though my message should be across. Do it. Nothing is literally stopping you. I'm encouraging you to do it. And that pretty much goes to anything. Like I always say, that's like constructive. You know what I mean? And not destructive. Like, we need to start learning how to help build each other up. You know what I mean? It's so easy to destroy something, and it's way easier, like it's way more difficult to build something up. You know what I mean? Like, it's way easier to erase a canvas that's on, like, I guess a dry erase board than to draw something up on that dry erase board. And that comes with having faith. That comes with dealing with the unknown. That comes with your belief system, because you got to think, when you're going down, I guess, that path of doing what you truly want to do and being who you truly want to be, you're going to be challenged. And weirdly enough, your new self is challenging your old self, and they're having a battle to see who's going to win. And as of late, I just started, I guess, figuring this stuff out, and I'm still figuring this stuff out. I don't know nothing about nothing. You know what I mean? I'm going to be honest with y'all. When y'all hear me talk, it may sound like, I guess I know what I'm talking about. I do know what I'm talking about, you know, in a nutshell. But I'm still trying to figure this world out along with you guys. But I'm just trying to do my best of providing my insight and what I believe, because I'm not saying that the way I believe and the way I look at the world is right. But I do believe that we should be looking at it in a way that we're growing. And if you let, I guess, your old self win, then you lost the battle, because our old selves holds, like, I guess, a limited perspective of the world and a limited belief of ourselves. So we're just like, you know, holding on to the past. We're like, I guess, a shell of ourselves, and we're stunting our growth, and we're holding ourselves back from the endless potential that we have. It's crazy. This is like a weird conundrum that I guess we're in. We have a source of unlimited power, but using a vessel that's mad unlimited. Because, like I said earlier, we're self-destructive creatures. We're self-destructive. So with that being said, we got this endless amount of energy and source, like, around us. You know what I mean? And the older we get, I guess it feels like we're running out of time. But in the back of our heads, we still know that we can do whatever it is what we're trying to do. But if we silence the distractions around us and listen to that voice and have it become louder and louder and louder, weirdly enough, I believe that that's the straight line to get to wherever we got to go. And the crazy part is, once we get there, we got to do that battle all over again. You know, just like every single year, we got 4 seasons, and changes every single year. You know what I mean? One is not dominant over the other. In fact, they all need each other in order for it to, I guess, be cohesive. And that goes with everything. You know what I mean? That's why I believe that in this reality, this reality that we like live in, nothing is meant to last forever. Everything comes and goes, just like the seasons. Like, just like life has death, just like on has off, just like, I guess, hot has cold. You know what I mean? Everything has like a weird counterpart, but it's all in a weird way playing the same role to maintain a balance for this reality, because it's extremely fragile. Like, we're even us as human beings are mad fragile as is. Like, you know, we can't survive in a cold unless we were, I guess, bundled up for it. You know what I mean? Like, look at our skin. Like, you know what I mean? A bear come through and just straight destroy us. But this is kind of getting off topic. But this is how I think. Like, this is how I think, like, weirdly enough, like, all of the time. I wasn't thinking like this, I would want to say 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah, I just, like, you know, before that point, I was solely just thinking about myself. I didn't really think about nobody. I'm gonna be quite honest. I wasn't really thinking about people's best interests. I was only thinking about my best interest, and weirdly enough, just trying to get over, like, I guess, on everybody, until I started going through, like, some weird change. You know, it was a lot of things in my life that was starting to trigger that change, but ultimately I started really understanding myself, you know, asking myself the right questions, trying to be as self-aware as I possibly can be, you know what I mean? But through doing that, it scared me. It started scaring me because I didn't like the person that I seen, and who I was and who I became to be. And I had to do some soul searching, and I also had to start changing. I had to start to look at the world around me completely different. And also, the biggest thing that I started doing is looking at everything and everyone around me as if it was me. You know what I mean? So it's just in a sense of, if I see somebody, you know, I guess struggling in a sort of way, I feel obligated to do what I can to help in any way, shape, or form. And it's weird. It's because, like, I don't know, I could feel it. And this is something that I guess I wasn't able to do before, because I wasn't thinking, I guess, like how I'm thinking now, in the realm of being selfless and thinking about others, and I guess putting others before myself. And it's difficult to maintain that, because you do come across people that, I guess, it's karma, who think like how I used to think. And it's just like, I want just getting over on people, only looking out for yourself. So it's hard dealing with those energies as well, because a lot of people are like that. And the one thing, like, for me, is in situations like that, I don't want to become, I guess, a shell of myself, and, you know, lose a bit of myself because I feel as though somebody is, I guess, being an energy vampire. But what I do try to do is, I guess, change their aura with, like, I guess, my aura, if that makes any sense to y'all. Like I said, this podcast episode is going to be kind of out there, you know what I mean? But I think it's really important for me to get out how I think to you guys. And my mom really do be all over the place with a lot of different things, like, all day, every day. And it's hard to find a balance for it. I'm trying to find a balance for it, but right now in my life, it's been a lot of, I guess, significant changes, and I'm trying to find order within, like, the change, because it seems like, but at the end of the day, man, I be feeling extremely, I guess, grateful that, you know, that I dead serious be waking up in the morning, that I have the challenges that I do, that I am the person that I am. You know, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, to be quite honest. You know what I mean? I'm lucky enough to have both of my parents, and not only one mom but two moms. You know what I mean? Shout out to Vanessa, love you. You know what I mean? But and also my brothers and sisters as well. Is I guess I used to look at it as like a lot of pressure was, like, I guess, on my shoulders. But the more I started embracing my role in this world that we live in, the more, I guess, I've been sure of myself with the things that I've been doing. And you guys can get to that point too. But you just got to recognize what the distractions that you have around you are first and try to clear it out to make room for that little subtle noise, that your consciousness and your intuition that's trying to directly tell you who and what you truly want to be. Because as crazy as it sounds, I believe that a lot of that stuff is predestined. It's predestined. Like, you know what I mean? The things that you're going to like is already built in you. The things that you don't like, I guess, is already like built in you. Yeah, things can alter that course or whatever, but I believe that pretty much everything happened in my life to get me to this point. And things sometimes don't make sense until you make it make sense. But you got to make it make sense for like the right reasons, I guess. This is crazy. I don't know, man. Like, I think crazy weird, yo. But I know for a fact it's a couple of y'all out there that got to think similar to how I think. You know what I mean? There has to be a couple of y'all out there. This has been a very, very, very beautiful journey. I just hope that y'all left 2020, I guess, in 2020. But nah, y'all brought those vibes into 2021. Y'all can still change it though. Don't have this year be buck wild, man. This year has already started freaking crazy for me for things that I can't necessarily speak of. But all in all, I'm extremely, extremely grateful that I guess I have a platform to get my thoughts out there. And I really hope that this is helping people out. You know what I mean? If you guys can like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, do whatever you can, like, you know what I mean, to put this message out there. That would be more than a blessing to me. And for those of you that are listening, serve your purpose. Serve your purpose. I love you guys. Peace out. See y'all next Wednesday. Deuces.